Are you looking to buy a home in 2021 or even further on down the road, but you're just looking for some tips on what you can do to best position yourself to get your first home? Well, lucky for you, on today's video, I'm going over 10 hacks in order to buy your first home. So let's jump right into it. Hey everyone, I'm Bryce Greenleaf. I'm a local real estate agent here in the greater Seattle, Washington area, and I love making videos all about Seattle, whether that's videos about relocating to this area or just buying and selling the local real estate. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notified every time that I make a new video about Seattle, about moving to this area, and about the local real estate. I get calls, texts, and emails from people all the time looking to move here or looking to do something with real estate over here, and I love helping you out, finding that right spot, that right location for you, or just answering your questions about living in this area. Any questions that you have, feel free to shoot them over to me, and I'm more than happy to help you out with them. You can contact me here at my info on the bottom of the screen or in the description. But without further ado, let's talk about the top 10 hacks to buying your next home. All right, you guys, so hack number 1 is to buy a cosmetic fixer. So in today's day and age, a lot of buyers just do not want to get their hands dirty, don't want to deal with buying a home that needs some work to be done on it. Most home buyers want something that's move-in ready, that it's already got the updates that they're looking for, it's modern, it's light and bright, and it's got everything done so they can just move in and get their life going in their new home. That creates some opportunity for some other home buyers that are willing to put in some work when getting their first home. If you walk into a home and it's sound structurally, but it's just got an outdated kitchen, maybe it's got shag carpet still, or just some older carpets that are stained and need to be replaced, some other flooring that needs to be replaced, some paint that really needs to be touched up on the exterior and interior. Just cosmetic touch-ups can provide a huge opportunity to you to get into a home for a little bit under what the market value could be if it were prepared properly and the repairs were already done. You can then do those repairs yourself because they're very simple. They're just cosmetic items. There may be some things you have to hire out if you're doing like a kitchen remodel, but a lot of the stuff you'll be able to do yourself. And then you can build some sweat equity into that home. So say you bought a home for $500,000. It's a good solid home in a good neighborhood, but you got to go through, you got to update the kitchen a little bit, and you got to do some carpets and paint. Let's say after you do those repairs, that home is now worth $600,000, and let's say you spent $50,000 on those repairs. Your home is now worth $600,000 and you've gained about 10% in equity just by putting in some repairs yourself. So this is a great way to build some instant equity in your home, especially for people that are looking to buy a home with zero down. Oftentimes when you buy a home zero down, you're putting yourself in a little bit vulnerable of a situation because you don't have any equity in that house in the short term until you start paying down some of that principal. But if you go this route, you've got some sweat equity already built up. You get that home reappraised after those repairs are done, and you'll see that you've got probably at least 10% equity in that home in that situation. All right, and tip number 2 kind of goes along with this, but it's kind of taking it to the next step, and that's buying a much larger fixer home. Now, you don't want to be dealing with certain things like foundation repair, maybe roof repair, some of these larger items that may need to be done on a home. But there is a great loan program called an FHA 203K rehab loan in which you can buy a home that's in disrepair and you can actually finance the cost of those repairs through that lender, through your mortgage. So let's say you see a home that you really like, but it needs a lot of work done to it. The foundation needs to be repaired. Maybe the heating system, electrical systems need to be redone. Insulation all through the house needs to be done. And it's obviously not something that you can either do yourself or afford to do yourself and hire somebody out of pocket. So you can apply for this FHA 203K loan through your local lender. It's a 3.5% down loan program, and then they will wrap in those rehab costs. So they'll send an approved contractor out to the home to give you a bid on what it takes to repair that home, and then that will be wrapped up. Once it's approved, it'll be wrapped up into your mortgage, and then after you close on the home, they will start the rehab process through that contractor. This is another fantastic way to build instant equity in your home while not having to necessarily come up with a huge down payment out of pocket. You can buy a home in disrepair, make it to your liking, update it to a modern style, and you'll definitely have some instant equity in that house once it's done and the repairs are completed. All right, hack number 3 is to use down payment assistance. So a lot of people don't know this, but I have made some other videos on it on the past. Feel free to click up here at one of my more recent videos on down payment assistance, but just a real quick explanation of it. If you're looking to buy a home and you want to buy zero down, traditionally there aren't a ton of options. If you're a veteran, you can buy a home zero down through a VA loan, but for the rest of you, there are very, very limited options on buying a home zero down. One of the best ones is to qualify for down payment assistance. So you would qualify for a regular 3.5% down FHA program, but on top of that, you would apply for this down payment assistance that would cover all of that 3.5% for you. Now it's not a grant, it is in the form of a silent second mortgage, so it would eventually have to be paid off if you went to refinance your home down the road or whenever you sold your home down the road. But this is a very, very popular program that a lot of first-time home buyers use to get into their home without having to come up with that cash out of pocket, because especially for those of you in the Seattle area, with home prices being so high, a down payment on a home is not a small bill. So this really helps people out getting into their first home when they don't quite have enough down payment saved up. So if you're thinking about buying a home in the near future and you want some more information on this, definitely feel free to let me know. I can definitely send you some more information on the down payment assistance program and let you know if you can qualify or not. All right, and hack number 4 is also along this route. It's along the zero down home buying route, and this is really gonna be the second option in terms of buying a home for zero down for you, assuming you're not a veteran. And this is through a USDA rural home loan. So this is backed by the USDA, and they provide zero down financing for homes in eligible areas. Usually this is in rural areas. So if you're in the greater Seattle area, say you're looking up north, Snohomish County, a good general rule of thumb is east of Highway 9. A lot of those homes could qualify for this loan. If you're curious if a certain area, a certain home will qualify for USDA, simply go to this website here at USDA eligibility. You can type in the address in the map and you can see if it would qualify for a USDA loan. Unlike down payment assistance, where you're basically taking out a second mortgage to cover that down payment, this is a straight zero down program. So it's also a great option for those looking in the qualifying areas. All right, hack number 5 is to make sure you use a local lender recommended by your real estate agent. So when you're looking to buy a home, you're gonna have to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Now, there's a lot of different lenders in the industry, and just like any industry, there's some that are better than others. And your real estate agent will know one or a few that they trust that can do a really good job. I personally have a favorite lender that most of my clients end up working with, but of course it's up to you what lender you choose to work with, but use your real estate agent as kind of a guide to help you find somebody that's good, because I've worked with other lenders in the past that honestly have just been terrible and have been a real problem within our deal and actually getting a transaction closed and servicing you as the client in that situation. So you want to make sure you use a good reputable lender and just talk to your real estate agent about somebody that they recommend. All right, and hack number 6 is to write a seller love letter when you're putting an offer in on a home. So in today's market, it's very, very competitive. There's usually multiple offers on every single home, so you're gonna be competing against other buyers. And there are other aspects to an offer that are important other than just the purchase price. It's not always who offers the highest in purchase price gets the home. There are some other factors that come into play, other contingencies. One other thing that I like to have my clients do is write a letter to that seller just to tell them about why you love that home. Strike an emotional chord with that seller so they feel comfortable about who they're selling their home to. They feel like it's somebody that's gonna take care of their home and love their home just the way they did. I've had clients win offers where we were $10,000 to $15,000 under the next highest offer, but we still won that home because of that seller love letter, because the sellers felt like they could relate to my buyers and they really felt good about selling their home to them. And so it made a huge difference. In that case, $10,000 to $15,000 difference just writing that letter. So talk to your real estate agent before you put an offer in on a home and make sure you write up a seller love letter. All right, and tip number 7 is to buy in a fast growing area. So when you're looking at a home for sale, when you're looking to buy your first home, one thing you need to consider is resale value, because chances are you're not gonna live in that home for the rest of your life, you know, another 30, 40, 50 years, however long it may be. There's a good chance you're gonna end up selling that home down the road, whether to get into a bigger home or whether to downsize or to move out of the area, whatever the case is. So you wanna consider resale value. One thing you wanna consider in terms of resale value is what area you're buying in, what neighborhood you're buying in. again, talk to your real estate agent about what some of the best neighborhoods to buy in could be. We can look up specific areas in terms of appreciation, what historically they are appreciating at, whether, you know, one neighborhood might have increased at 5% last year, but another neighborhood might have increased at 12% last year. So that's something you want to consider when it comes to buying your first home and considering the resale value that could be down the road. All right, and tip number 8 is to negotiate after the inspection. So once you've got your offer accepted on a home, chances are you're gonna have a home inspection to make sure that home is what you think it is and there's nothing that's gonna scare you. Now, you have the right to back out of that transaction if there is something bad that comes up with the inspection report and you're not comfortable buying that home. But along with that, you have the chance to renegotiate after this inspection. So you could go back to the seller and tell them, hey, I need these items repaired. I wasn't aware that this was wrong with the home and I wanna get these repaired before we close on it. So that's one thing you can do. The second thing you can do is to just go back to the seller and ask them to reduce the purchase price. Maybe they can give you a credit towards certain things you want repaired or just a total reduction in the purchase price. This just gives you another opportunity to negotiate the sale and try to get more out of the deal for yourself. Again, talk to your real estate agent about this. They're the ones that are gonna be negotiating on your behalf in this instance. So make sure you guys are on the same page and see what you can do in terms of negotiating as much as you can for yourselves. All right, and tip number 9 is to make sure you don't take out any new credit, any new loans during this process. Once you get pre-approved for your home loan or even beforehand, you want to make sure you avoid any erratic spending, anything new, opening up new credit cards, getting a new car, financing anything new. That can alter your credit score, and you want your credit score as high as possible to qualify for the best rate. And once you're pre-approved, that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed that rate, you're guaranteed what you were given, because they are gonna run your credit again before we close on the home that you buy. So you gotta make sure you're not doing any extra spending or taking out any new credit cards or loans or anything like that, or it can jeopardize you being able to actually close on that home and buy it. All right, and the final tip here, tip number 10, is for the seller to pay the closing costs. Now, when you go to buy a home, you have to pay what's called closing costs. Now, this is usually your second biggest fee after your down payment, unless you're doing zero down. But closing costs are usually gonna be somewhere around 2 to 3% of your purchase price, just depending on what lender you use. My lender, my clients seem to often be right around 2% of the purchase price, sometimes even a little bit lower. But if you're buying a $500,000 house, you should expect to pay maybe around $8,000 to $10,000 in closing costs. You may not have the cash to come up with this out of pocket to pay at the closing table. So one thing that we can do is to negotiate to have the seller pay for these for you. So that's something we'll write into an offer. Now, in multiple offer situations where it's really competitive, this becomes a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely still possible. We just have to be careful about how we do it, and we have to present it in the correct way. And I've still had even multiple clients, even this year and last year, be able to do this even in a competitive market. All right, you guys, well, this sums up my top 10 home buying hacks. Like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you get notified of all the new videos that I'm coming out with about Seattle, living in this area, and the local real estate. And like I said, if you've got any questions on anything that I can help with, any questions about Seattle or buying a home or selling a home, definitely reach out to me here at my info and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Otherwise, I thank you for watching this video and I'll plan on seeing you on the next one.